I recently made this batch of Shou Sugi bond inspired tap handles for a local brewery. Stick around to find out exactly how I did that from start to finish. What's going on, guys? I'm Jody. This is Inspire Woodcraft. Today we're talking Shou Sugi bond. Now before I get into today's build, I do want to let you know that I have 4 other videos that I released earlier this year that go through the very fine details of the process that I go through when I do this Shou Sugi bond inspired finish. So if there's not enough detail in this video, be sure to check out those other videos. I'll try to remember to link them up above somewhere, you know, like usual. At the end of the video, along with down in the description. A lot of people have said they've got a lot of good information out of there from watching at least a few of the videos in this series, and so it might help you too. Now these tap handles are going into a brewery local to me, a brewery called Urban Roots. If you're local to the Sacramento area, I highly recommend checking them out. Beautiful building, super fun vibe, totally worth stopping by. So these tap handles are made from 2x2 pine, fir, spruce. I use softwoods for a lot of my Shou Sugi bond finishes. So the only issue is it's a little bit construction grade material. For this particular job, I wanted to make a nice smooth surface to start out with. It's not always necessary, but on this job, that's definitely where I wanted to start. And so I would start by sanding. Lots and lots of sanding. Shenanigans. Alright, so after sanding, I needed to cut all these 2x2s down to 8 inches. And I didn't want any tear out, so I made this sacrificial table and fence out of some 1/2-inch plywood, just double side taped to the miter saw itself. And to make sure I had consistent cuts, I put a stop block down to make sure that every time I cut, it would be at 8 inches. Now after I had them all cut to length, I'd go through and draw a diagonal line from corner to corner and then turn and corner to corner. This is going to give me a center line so that I can drill for my threaded inserts, which we'll see here in just a second. Now I'm going to drill the hole for these inserts with the drill press, and I just want my bit to go down just past the length of the insert. I want these inserts to be flush with what looks like right now the top of the handle. So once I was sure I had everything set up, I went ahead and drilled these holes. And you can do this handheld, you can put them in clamps, it's totally up to you. I find it easier for me just to hand hold them and just drill down. So the most accurate way I found to install these threaded inserts is to actually put the installation bit in the drill press and apply a little downward pressure as I manually twist and screw that insert into the wood. So this would ensure that I got a perfectly straight up and down insert so that when they thread the tap handles onto the stem, or whatever the terminology is, that the handle would be straight up and down as opposed to leaning to the side or to the back. It was a lot easier to do this having a second pair of hands. There's other methods you can use to do this, but I have a drill press and I thought, hey, why not put it to use? A little epoxy in the hole not only helps lubricate that threaded insert on the way down, but ensures that it's going to stay locked in place and never come out. Now the best looking finish you're going to get is going to be towards the outside of the tree. So I want to make sure that I mark the best face of each tap handle. So I had a reference point when I go to burn. I'm only burning 3 sides out of 4 because the side that I leave blank is going to actually have their logo burned into it with a hot iron. So of course the next step is burning. Again, I go into this in more detail in other videos, but basically I'm just going to use a regular propane torch. I like to sort of preheat the wood and go in up and down strokes for the most part until I get kind of a zebra looking effect. You'll see all the soft spring wood start to burn, and then I like to go back through and char the grain, which is the denser fall wood. I made these 2 little jigs here, and that enables me to actually screw each tap handle onto these little platforms, and then I can let that one cool while I get another one and burn it, and then put the other one aside, and you'll see in a second. But it's a nice little system for me. If you're gonna do batches of these, it might be good to kind of come up with something like this. Now I'm setting them on the end of the table here, and the reason is because I need to go through still and burn the tops. So this will allow me to work in stages where I have a spot where I can burn the sides, and then I can burn the tops, and we can just keep going in stages. Here I'm burning the end grain, same thing. I kind of go through, make those sort of zebra stripes, if you will, and then get a full char on. So this whole brushing process can get pretty dirty. I finally got smart enough to bring the whole operation outside. If you watch my shop tour video, you know that I have a French cleat system all the way around my bench. And so to utilize that, I actually put a pipe clamp in a shop built tray, and then now I can put that pipe clamp on the side. So this pipe clamp works really good for being able to quickly move pieces in and out, and I can do batch work this way. Really simpler. I wish I would have thought of this a year ago. It would have made my life a lot easier. These brushes that I'm using, these are Nylox brushes. Those of you that are regular to the channel know that I've talked about them probably over and over. This is primarily what I use when I'm doing these small pieces. This enables me to actually dig the charred wood from between the grains, giving this a really nice texture and a real good contrast of color between the whiter colored wood and the blackened grain. Now I'd also make sure to get the ends, not only the end that was burnt, but the end that wasn't burnt, which is where that insert is. This is gonna clean it up quite a bit, and it's gonna allow us to put some dye on it here in just a minute. I did the top same way as I did the sides. I made sure that I dug down deep into those grooves and scooped down into the new wood to get a nice contrast of color and a good texture. Now because these are getting a logo hot stamped on one side, I'm going to dye the one side, but I'm not burning the one side. So I came through and I cleaned everything up with the sander to make sure they had a nice flat surface to be able to put their brand, their logo on. So once I had them all sanded down, I would just come through with a dry paintbrush. This is just an old paintbrush that I use for this purpose and this purpose alone. I dust off all the dust, the extra soot, anything that's left over, and clean them up a little bit. And in this batch, I had some that were a little more red, probably more Doug fir than hemlock or pine. And I wanted to set those aside in a separate pile because I want to make sure that I put the red dye on those ones first so that I don't have a weird mix of color going on. So for our color, we're using General Finish water-based dye stains. Dyes work a little bit different. They soak down in, it's almost really like putting water on there. So once we have the end grain done, I can put it on the threads, and then I can just go ahead and go through and color the rest of the sides and the top. And that's basically a wrap besides a quality control check. Now I would go through and I'd give these a coat of satin poly. I just used a spray. 3 or 4 coats does the trick usually. You could put more clear coat on, thicker coats or whatever if this was something that you really wanted to protect. But if you were really worried about it, you could even go as hardcore as going epoxy. In about a month or so, I think, I'm actually gonna do a video about using this process for a tabletop, and we're actually going to use epoxy to pour in the grooves and over the top. We're going to make a tabletop, a desk, or something out of it. So that's something that we're going to be doing coming up just to see how that looks. I think that about wraps it up. If you guys need more detailed information, again, check out that series. I have a playlist. It's going to be either at the end of this video, it was in cards throughout this video, or it's going to be in the description box below. I'll leave links to stuff down there as well. If this is something you've tried, leave me a comment, just let me know how it worked for you. I've been getting a ton of feedback on this stuff, so super cool, you guys. Thanks so much for trying these techniques out. It's a finish that a lot of people really like. And again, another big shout out to Urban Roots here in Sacramento. If you guys are in town or if you're from here, Make sure you look them up. Go check them out. Super awesome joint. Really good owners and good people working there. I think that about wraps it up. As always, thank you so much for watching these videos, and I will see you guys in the next video.